Oh, that's okay. No, stay right here. Okay, I'll be the bodyguard on this side for now.
You can stand and wait. I have to give you an introduction. So, thank you so much, Michele. Let's give Michele another hand. That was wonderful. Okay, so let's see. Our next author is Cicely Blackwell. This is a real treat, you guys. I first met Cicely when she read at our youth event at the Poetry Stage at the Festival of Eugene 2 years ago. You're in for a real treat. Cicely Blackwell, in her own words, "My name is Cicely, simply put. I'm currently 15, and I'm not really sure why that's relevant, but there you go. The reason I'm doing these poetry readings is because poetry is my soul. Every piece is a puzzle of myself that I have decided can be shared. I love words and communication, so it would only be fair to make up my own. In my dealings beside writing, I tend to wander down alleyways and sing until my lungs cry uncle. I'm very grateful for the wonderful human that is Michele Graf, Stephen Blue for putting this whole shebang together, my parents, of course, my all-amazing and awe-inspiring language arts teacher, Jeff Wyman, and I would like to thank myself for destroying the universe and catching the explosions in my hands. Finally, I want every glorified cannonball out there to know that you too are a reason that every artist, including myself, helped to make life a little more beautiful." Please welcome Cicely Blackwell.
I think I just made myself cry. Okay, let's see. So the first poem I wrote, I haven't actually written poetry for a while, but I decided to do it again and promptly found out that my whole style of it changed completely. So that was fun. But my first one is called An Apology. You came here to listen to me talk about myself. Wow, now that is something else. Unless you came here for the free food. Sorry, that was a lie. So's the claim that Beyonce will show up and that this will be kid-friendly. Oh, and that thing you heard about $1 million cash prize, you really thought you would win it? I hope you do someday, somewhere, but there's not one here, so pardon me, but get ready for the long haul. It'll be a decent ride. This one's called Shakespeare in High School. Comedy of errors is when you screw up and people laugh and you laugh too, even though you kind of want to cry. This one's called Reality. He asked me if I knew the difference between reality and fantasy. I said yes. Then he asked me if I had ever considered going out with a fridge. I liked his freezer, so we're married as of 2 months. A conversation with myself. If I could match your turn of phrase with every record on my shelf, we would have nothing. Whether that be because I own no vinyl or that you suck at writing poetry does not matter. This one's called Eczema. Eczema, a medical condition in which patches of skin become rough and inflamed with blisters that cause itching and bleeding, sometimes resulting from a reaction to irritation, but more typically having no obvious external cause. I have eczema of the heart. My inescapable irritation of people being subtly angry at one another in my house is the perfectly explainable behavior that sets my teeth grinding, my back tiring, and every bone panting for breath. I'd say it's like dealing out meth, except sheltered and forgiving, drugs are not my area of expertise. And still, wouldn't it be grand, I sigh, when I feel this itching in my chest, this ghost that wants to shout out and show who's best, to have some easy solvent, a buy-on-TV miracle cream that soothes tidy patches of skin outside and in of eczema of the heart. I think in this whole thing I have like maybe 3 poems that rhyme, so this is one of them. He was a mouth and she a nose. He brings her rose after rose while she smiles and laughs. Who knows? And he does. And she, like the buds in the snow, opens to his warm embrace, granting beauty and endless grace. Two spoons that harbor soft intent sleep under covers of waves that came and went. For that is how their love grows, he a mouth and she a nose. Poets. We are ill-defined, supposed to be undefined, but as you can tell, that in itself is a contradiction. But I wanted to take a moment to reflect on how many times I've said I in these past nuances. Are poets self-centered? Am I wishing to spread my bias upon the world? I mean, maybe kind of, but I generalize. Like I never once said before, we poets are confined. Why is it that we call certain people monsters when dehumanizing a person this way is in itself a monstrous act? Think for a moment on anyone who, their orange jumpsuit blowing up your vision, you have heard the part-time story of and immediately assumed the worst of their behavior. And though you've never met them, you could tell me of their rotten core, of their entitled life of horror, and not believe one moment more that this ideology, this unfair, consumed mythology is half the picture. You have forgotten that you yourself are the morals you base these mutilated traps upon. Any human with their lights on, afraid of the dark, filled with terror at the mention of that word that they could become, that we all may create their contorted figure into a revolting unforgivable. If only one wrong step occurs, a word, and without a thought of who you once might have been, you are that monster. And I think this is the only other rhyming one. It doesn't make a lot of sense, so don't expect anything from it. The music I like is not the music you like, and the words you use are different than mine. The life that you live is not the life that I live, and I guess with that in mind, we'll be fine. I'm going to name this Expectations, although I didn't actually name it before. I would love to be that one kid who publishes 8 books and gives inspiring speeches about environmental awareness. And perhaps there are adults who secretly wish that they had become maybe the world heavyweight champion or something when they were 25. But humans, we have our technicalities. Born to be geniuses, as some of us fulfill, and the others, the background noises, forget that we too are geniuses in our own right. Look at yourself. Your brain functions like a boss. I am fully able to convey my emotions in a healthy way, and that's genius enough for me. Guilt is not a great friend. He's the kind of person who steals your hat the one day out of the year you were wearing it and then blames you when it gets stolen out of the locker room at school. He's the one who plays the stop hitting yourself game. And whenever you just get so mad, he says, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I'll be better about it, okay?" And you believe him. Guilt is not a great person. This one has one bad word in it. Is that okay?
Yes.
Are you going to live through it?
Yes.
Okay.
Go for it.
Thank you. Tan goldfish is made of the bubbling mutters that split out of the other fish's maws. Tan goldfish is 2-week-old pizza in the refrigerator and thinking that he's not good enough. Tan goldfish is a soldier that doesn't actually know what he's fighting for, but continues to out of force of habit and muscle memory. Tan goldfish is a thinly veiled analogy for misfits. He is also not a poet, but instead a really tired college student. "Are we done with this shit?" Tan goldfish asks. And this last one, because I'm already at the last one, it took 3 minutes. I wrote this a long time ago, long being maybe 3 months, so not that long. But I made out kind of a whole formula for it, and I like it a lot, but I'm not sure that it's true for me. I kind of wrote it originally that way, but then at the end, I'm not sure if it's exactly that way. So it's called 23. When I am 23, I will not speak out like I did at 5 3/4. I counted. Then I sounded like the world would stop spinning if my mouth kept from grinning and bubbling up with what ifs and what nows. How have I grown this tall, knowing it all and staying so small inside? so little because of a doubt, a likelihood event I'd never shout out in class for fear of embarrassment. This trend of undersizing me will lend to a catastrophe, which is how I know when I'm 23, I will not speak at all. The words will wither in my nostrils, take away my breath, and yet there are phrases to share, to combat and compare at 15, my drama queen years, where nothing is shameful. Let us drink this cupful of admiration for a nationwide effort that spits out me, 23.
And how about that?
Yeah.
Let's give Cicely another hand. Two wonderful poets. So we're going to take a short break, about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do the open mic and have some more fun. Thank you all for being here.